at the crib. Where you gonna go when you do? I'ma know for real.
Mr. Dupree had back at it with another video. Hey, this video is gonna be about my life story, a little brief glimpse of it, give y'all a little brief glimpse of what I've been through. And on my dreads, I went swimming yesterday, I had some with a few bulbs that I had to retwist after the pool, but none of them came apart, so I know that they're locked. And them bulbs, look how long that mug is, this? We all good, that flip right back down. They don't really shake like that. When they wet, they shake everywhere. When they dry, they don't really move as much. Especially putting that do-rag on at night, I help them all sit down and lay down. And they'll be sticking up like alfalfa on me and everything. Had me over here looking all alfalfa-ish. But other than that, yeah, they still looking nice. Everything all good with them. Getting them re-dreaded probably next week. Coming soon, I got y'all on that. Other than that, the life story, this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to start from the beginning, because a brother came out backwards. Yeah, I came in the world backwards. They couldn't find me at first. And then they finally found me in my mama's chest because they couldn't find no heartbeat down where I was supposed to be. So they had to give her a C-section, reach up and grab me and pull me out. And they pulled me out by my butt, into the world butt first, not head first, So, but yeah, that was my experience right there, being born. So I was like, okay, interesting start for a man that's going to be doing great things in the future. So from there, I had an older sister, me and her lived together for a nice little good minute. I'd say a good 4 or 5 years before my mom got remarried and she left because of my stepfather. After that point, it was just me before they had the three little ones, because my mom didn't take up for us. She let my stepfather run the house. So my sister couldn't take that no more. So me, when she left, I thought she was going on a trip. She was going to be back soon, surely. I'm like, okay, she coming back. Time passed and she ain't back. And I'm like, okay, let me go ask where she at, Build up the courage. I went downstairs. They would both of them, my parents were sitting on the couch with my stepfather and my mom. And I was like, where's my sister? And my stepfather was like, she left and she's not coming back. Don't ask again. So as a kid, taking that to heart, it's like, it's my sister. That's the only person that I grew up with, I fought with, argued with, I loved her. Like, where my sister? So I had to go upstairs, cry myself to sleep, and I had to deal with that. So as a young man, growing up, they had 3 more children. At first, my heart was kind of hardened towards them because I wanted my sister back. I didn't want you to add 3 more, just give me my sister, So growing up with them, I had to raise them, I had to help all of that because they were both working. And I was the oldest, so I had to sit there and take all the responsibility. I didn't really have no childhood life because I was really stuck in the house. So it was like I was kind of feel like you were a prisoner, but you still get to go to school and everything, hang out with them. But when you get home, you at home, and the closest thing you'll get to being outside the house is just going outside, and then you can't even leave the front of your house. You're just outside. So it was like, really, is this my life? And that started for a good minute because my childhood, I moved from house to house, went from school to school and all of that. So it was like, this can't be how life is. Every time I made friends at a new school, I had to turn around and go to another school. So it's like, what was the point of making friends at that school when I'm about to turn around and go to a whole other school and have to make all friends all over again? What? This cycle has to end. So in our process of living in Indianapolis and everything, because that's where I was born, we lived here for I say 5 years, about 5. And we lived in a shelter for a little minute between that time before we left, before my stepfather moved us to Oklahoma. In the shelter, I had to stay with another family. It was all bad. We just split up most of the time because it was a shelter. They had to split us up in different zones to, keep the rooms and everything secure. So I had to deal with all of that. Between the heartaches in the shelter, between living with other families, still having to go to another school, all of that. And then from there, being moved to Oklahoma, that's a whole different environment, whole different vibe, whole different people. I'm like, what is this? So I had to move from school to school out there because we started staying with another family when we got out there. So it was house to house, school to school again. So we finally settled down in the house out there, and I'm like, okay, life is getting better. Not knowing what my mom was going through behind closed doors, not knowing what my stepfather was doing behind closed doors, none of that, because I was too busy watching the kids and trying to keep all that going well. Like I almost lost my mom in that process of that going on. Besides almost losing her when she had my youngest sister, the youngest. So I have four siblings altogether on my mom's side and three on my dad's. I'm the youngest of my dad's, the second oldest of my mom's. So out of all of that, we finally get like I think we're getting settled down in the house. We finally get to go for school a long period of time, make friends. It's like okay, this is looking nice for us. That's not including the parents, just for us as the kids. So I was like, all right, I can do this for now. So all that went well for a little while. Then we got kicked out of that house and we had to move into an apartment. So while we were in the apartment, I peeped some stuff that were going on. I saw my father doing some stuff that, yeah, he shouldn't have been doing and all that. So I was like, okay. So I just kept it to myself. I was like, my mom already going through enough stress in order to bother her with that. So just kept it pushing. So then we go visit my grandparents in Gary. It's nice little vacations finally for her to get to go see her parents because he kind of moved her away from her parents. That was his whole goal. So we go visit and everything cool in the vacation. Second day in, we think everything's straight. My grandfather calls him into the garage and everything, they talking. Then he calls my mom, then they're talking. Then after the conversation, he comes in, grabs his stuff and leaves. Takes the truck and everything. So we're all stranded in Oklahoma, or in Gary, Indiana. And all of our clothes and everything is still in Oklahoma. So it's like, what? What are we supposed to do? All we had was the clothes that we packed. Literally. The clothes that we packed for the vacation was the only thing we had with us, and he left to go back to Oklahoma. But he stated that he left the truck. But he left the truck in Indianapolis, so we had to drive to Indianapolis to get the truck. When we got the truck, it had no gas in it. So we had to even get to the gas station to put gas in the truck to make it back home. Then when we make it back home, we realized a couple months later down the road that he said the truck was stolen. And if my mom would have got pulled over while she was driving that truck, she would have went to jail. So he went through all of that. He tried to take the kids from her. He filed divorce. He did all of that. With she not knowing what she got herself into because she thought she knew him as a man and as a person. So after all of that, we decided to reset in Gary. I was an ugly duckling in Oklahoma and everything, so I got talked about all the time. I was already 2 grades behind because I got held back. I got started school late and I got held back in like 3rd grade. So I was 2 grades behind. I was an ugly duckling. I was the tallest in class, oldest in class. Like, I got talked about all the time. I had bad acne. I got talked about all my bad acne, everything. So I deal with that the whole time I was at them schools when I was down there. And then coming back to Gary and being stranded in Gary, that's when my face started getting together. I started looking better as a young man and everything. So that was my 8th grade year coming back. So I was starting school my 8th grade year. And that 1 year in that middle school, after that year was over, I knew everybody in the whole entire school. Everybody liked me in the whole entire school. I got a crown king twice. That 1 year in that school, everything.
Can I use the restroom right quick? Thank you.
You're welcome. So out of all of that, life was still going, great. It was getting better for me as a person and everything. Mom was getting better because, she didn't have to deal with the stress no more that she had to go through. So, and excuse that. So, and she had to deal with the stress no more that she had to go through. So after all of that, I'm like, it's getting better. Excuse the lighting. It's going to get back better in a second. So I dealt with that. I got myself back together, went to high school, went ahead and graduated, skipped the grade up in high school, so I was only 1 grade behind when I graduated. I tried to skip up 2, but my school wasn't letting me do all of that. So, I was happy to get everything taken care of and done the way I wanted. Good morning, YouTube. Hey, back at it. But good morning, YouTube, Mr. Dupree. Hey, sorry. All right, this last video that I was just doing my phone messed up on me and turned off and said I was out of space. So I couldn't finish recording. So I just went and deleted a bunch of stuff so I can hurry up and finish this video and get it out to y'all. All right, so I left off with graduating, and getting myself together in that point of scale. And then from there, I was staying with my mom, trying to make some money, doing what I had to do around the house. I need to help my mom a little bit more than what I did, but yeah, I'm gonna do that. I got it. It's coming. So from that situation to, live my life, having a few circumstances that, popped up in my life that I had to deal with, just growing as a person. Then from there, I moved to, Richmond, and I told y'all about that story, Moved out there, tried that, didn't work out. So I came to, my family for shelter until I got my own. They took me in and helped me out. I went through a little bit in that situation, but I don't need to get into no deeper depth right now about that situation. So now I'm just getting my life back together, getting back on the right track, and just starting to give out that positive energy and that positive vibe that we all need to give out. That drama needs to stop, and it's time to let it go. But that was like a brief summary of my life, like we can go into so many stories, but if anything that I could help you by like giving you the guidelines of how I learned how to make it through situations to still be here to this day and never have given up through all the hard comings and shortcomings I had to go through. From being talked about 3 years straight to having to put my life together and show people that I know who I am and I know what I'm doing. It's a struggle, a process. But if you stick in there and stay with it, nobody can stop you. So, y'all looked at my hair the last time in the last video. Right now, yes, it's time for me to get redreaded. Yes, it is. Alright, so it's hanging down. I'll be twisting some myself. So you see how far the ones in the front come down. It's about past my eye, to be honest. Like, they got some good length on it. And I got, this one coming down past. Like, they all coming out nice. But it's time for a new retwist. Get this all looking neat. I went swimming with it a few times, they all stay locked like I told y'all. Shower, sometimes I order shower caps, sometimes I don't. But, I just make sure I don't get it all the way wet. When I go play basketball, I pour some water on my head because it be hot outside. And they pretty much stay in. I don't have to worry about them untwisting. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get that retwisted from there. Get back with y'all on that dread process as well. But yeah, that was a brief life story of mine. If y'all need any other story times, anything, you gotta put it in the comments. So like, share, and subscribe. And I am out.